Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Saturday night live. So let's see who comes in to join us. Hope everyone's keeping well. Hope everyone's doing well and your gardens are growing great. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on with me as well. So it's been absolutely hectic, trying to catch up with things, trying to get everything back on track since having that little break and taking that bit of time away, getting back up to speed with things. So it has been a bit hectic trying to catch up with all of that. I'm just turn this TikTok camera back the other way just so I can see a little bit easier. So we're going live off a couple of platforms at the same time, and it's never without its glitches. Let's see who's joined us on TikTok. So we've got a few people who have come in. It's a little bit. I'm gonna have to unplug the charger. There we go. So, Avatar, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Obi Nad, hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. So, who have we got coming in on YouTube? We've got 9 people in the house. Hope everyone's doing good. So yeah, it's been a mad week of getting all my gourds planted out, all my bottle gourds, all my sort of replacements for my squash. Because if you remember last week, I was talking about how quite a lot of my squash got eaten by slugs while I was away. But so we've got a few of those replacements out, and they're in the ground now. CW, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Fish with Bish, hope it all is good with you, my brother. And CW, £2 super chat, thank you very much for that. Proceeds from all of this live chat, just a reminder, proceeds from all of this live chat is going to go to the appeal that we're doing for the Bangladesh floods. If you don't know what's happening in Bangladesh at the minute, there's some floods that are happening, nothing like of which has happened in the last 120 years. People are being made homeless all over the place. So anything that we make on this live tonight is all going to be going towards that. So far, I've just put a link to the GoFundMe or the Just Giving or whatever it is. Can you close those curtains, everybody? Steve. So yeah, I've just put a link into the YouTube. Close those curtains for me. Yeah, I've just put a link into the YouTube for all the and turn the light on. Middle one. Into YouTube for where all the money is being collected. We've managed to raise. Dave, turn the light on. We managed to raise £595, so nearly £600 so far. I think that's fantastic. Whatever happens, I mean, I'm gonna. If we don't get to anywhere closer, I'm gonna top it up to £1,000 and make it an even £1,000 and make sure that's how much gets sent over. Because it's absolutely crazy what's happening over there. Phil, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you got the garden back on track. I'm swimming in summer squash and courgettes. Oh, that's fantastic. That's absolutely amazing. I lost all but one of my courgette plants, so most of my courgette plants are gone. Some of my winter squash are gone. But I've got one courgette that I managed to save in a little, in my container garden, and that's the one that's doing all right. So Dello on TikTok, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Magic Talker, hope you're keeping well. Hope everyone's good. So tell me what everyone's up to. Tell me what you're up to in your garden. And Phil, thanks for that generous donation. Appreciate it. Neddy's life journey, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're all good. So
bye.
I did
my new one on a
I did a little bit of an experiment this week. I've been hearing loads of reports about how pathetic the current compost situation is. So the compost in the UK is not shop bought compost is just not very good at the moment. So I bought some Asda own branch compost, and I had a look at it. It's just like, why didn't they just give me a bag full of dry grass? That's how bad it is. It literally is just a load of dry grass and a bit of cocoa coir. So it's really not in a good shape. So Delo's asking, my potato plants are nearly 4 foot tall. Any ideas why I've got them in a shaded area? So there's a couple of things there. So one, if you had them in a normal area, sunny area, if they grow extremely tall, then a lot of nitrogen in the soil would cause them to grow and really tall and put on a lot of green growth. But seeing as though you've got them in a shaded area, what can happen is they're stretching for the light, trying to get that light. So that's one of the things that could be causing them to grow long. But potato plants do grow quite long. I mean, my soils are very fertile. I grow them in a lot of wood chips. I don't add a nitrogen to it when they're growing. I just plant them and forget about them when I plant them in wood chips. But even they do get to well over 3 foot, maybe 4 foot long. So they do it. Is sort of normal, but if they're getting extremely long and they're looking a bit leggy, then they're either stretching for the light or they're putting on excessive green growth because of the amount of nitrogen in the soil. So, guys, if you're on the TikTok, if you can share the live stream and tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everyone to come in and have a bit of a hello. Kilted Gardener, Rob, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. 52 squash. 52 squash. What are you going to do with 52 squash? That's amazing. I expected some failure, so it looks like I'm in trouble. This 52 squash. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm up to no good in the garden, planting veg amongst the wife's flowers. Oh, Brian, that's naughty. See, I normally do some onions and garlic in amongst the flower beds. I've had a mare with onions this year. I put a video up. I'm not sure where, but I put up a video up either on TikTok or on YouTube. Where I left my chickens, the chickens were housed, the young chicks were housed in my greenhouse, and they ate everything, even my young onion plants. So I had some really nice onion plants, getting to about 4 or 5 inches tall, starting to thicken up. The chicks got in there, demolished everything. So that set me back a lot this year. Okay, awesome. Do I have to let them flower before harvesting? Depends on the variety. Now, with main crop, definitely leave them to flower. Main crop, they're the ones that generally grow to a bigger size. They'll take close to 6 months to harvest. First earlies can take a couple of months, 2 or 3 months. Second earlies, 3-4 months. And then, Maris Piper are main crop, so leave them to flower. Pick the fruits off, but leave them to flower. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Spoke to you last year. We finally moved to our farm. Congratulations, that's amazing. You're living my dream. One day, inshallah, I'll get to that point. Hope everything's nice and settled there. New to your channel, new to gardening, fighting the aphids with neem. You said about your channel, want to start with veg, but not sure where to begin. Okay, so now is a great time. If you've got space, a lot of space, what I'd do with something like squash, I'd plant them direct. If your ground's already prepared, plant them directly into the ground. Broad beans, still got time to plant. Runner beans, dwarf French beans, all of these kind of things, great time to plant them. Still not too late to plant the courgettes. You can plant them direct in the ground. Cucumbers, you can still plant direct into the ground. Sweet corn's getting a little bit late. So if you can buy some plug plants and get some sweet corn into the ground, there's loads. Now's the perfect time to get planting, as long as your garden bed's prepared. If it's not prepared, then we have to work on getting it ready to do that. Adello, no problem at all. You have to come visit us, inshallah. Let me know whereabouts you are and stuff like that. If you tell me whereabouts you are, then we'll see if we can get a visit out there at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna blame you more. I planted 3 different kind of tomatoes. Now it's flowering. But the squirrels hide their peanuts there, and the dog. Oh, that's a shame. See, we had a bit of a adventure this morning. Somehow, I don't know how, but one of the doors for the chicken hutch, chicken run, was left open.
And then all the chickens went out, and they were all at the bottom eating the peas.
They were eating the peas. They was digging up the squash. They'd eaten some of the chili plants. Yeah, they got into the greenhouse and ate the chili plants.
I was just looking out the window and I saw them.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock this morning, we were all out herding chickens. Yeah, was that fun?
No.
Yeah. Yashi, can you run us through the process of growing coriander? I can't get it started. Look, I've done an absolutely awesome video on growing coriander on my YouTube channel. Just go and watch that. It's got everything in it.
What did you do live now?
It's a really comprehensive guide to growing coriander. Just watch that. It's got everything you want there.
What did you do live on?
It's Friday night. Yeah, Friday night, 8 o'clock for the lives. Do go and check it out. Honestly, it's one of the best videos on growing coriander. It's called My Family Garden, just like on my TikTok. It's My Family Garden.
Is that TikTok?
That's TikTok, yeah.
Why do you always do TikTok?
So, yeah. I planted 3 different kind of. Okay. So I'm starting to get my first tomato that's looking like it's ripening as well.
You do it on Instagram as well?
No.
I thought you do Instagram.
Have you seen any nutrient deficiencies with using fresh wood chips, or is it better to compost a bit first? I'm planning on starting no dig beds soon. See, Rob, when it comes to using wood chips, now there's a couple of ways you can go. There's 2 things that I do with it. So I start off with a fresh bed and I just stack it with wood chips, and then the first thing I plant into there is potatoes, and I go for drought resistant varieties of potatoes, and things like Desiree. That's a drought resistant variety.
What's Desiree?
A potato variety, and it's supposed to be. So so I don't water them. I leave them in the under the wood chips. And by the time that first year I've got that potato harvest, that wood chip is broken down enough to plant things like squash and plant other things into it. And then once I've planted sort of woodier plants, tomatoes, wood chip, squash, and bigger, bulkier plants, then a year later, my second or third or fourth year, the wood chip's broken down enough to be able to plant anything and everything into it. So that's the method that I go with. I put them in my chicken run, and as the chickens break them down, I sift that off and I use that for nutrient-rich, extremely fertile compost. Sky Hood, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Sky, I hope everything's good with you. It's Dean's daughter.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Do I recommend hydroponics? Absolutely not. I wouldn't recommend hydroponics. There's too much chemical use.
What's hydroponics?
There's too much plastic use. It's just an unsustainable system.
We made Mexican bean chili at school.
Fantastic. You can tell me about it.
We ate it with rice.
Did you bring any home?
No.
No. So you made Mexican bean chili, but I didn't get a taste. Yeah.
No.
So yeah,
I had 2 bowls.
I wouldn't recommend hydroponics. If you wanted to try something different, then try aquaponics. If you can grow fish for food as well at the same time, that's a bit more of a sustainable system. But again, there is a lot of plastic usage in there. Guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like for me, it really does help with the algorithm. So if you it costs you nothing, just make sure you hit that like for me. So I prefer no dog, kilted garden. do you ever use Epsom salts and ground coffee? See, coffee grinds are good to add nitrogen to soil. So and they're also supposed to be good at you keeping slugs away. I can never get coffee grounds in as much, a large amount to be able to use them for slugs or anything like that. So how effective they are, I can't really say. But again, with Epsom salts, the thing with Epsom salts is it's a great way of giving your plants a boost of magnesium. But the thing is, most soils are not deficient of magnesium. If you've got an intensively, overly cultivated piece of land, then you could potentially be drawing out all the magnesium from the soil. And in that case, it might be necessary to add something back. But very rarely do your plants need it. So what I tend to do is if I've got young plants, then I might use it for young seedlings or things that I've just planted out. Give them an initial water with Epsom salts if I use it. Or if I have some plants that are looking a little bit sickly, then I'll use it there. But the other thing is with Epsom salts is because the magnesium and plants take up a lot of magnesium. When a plant takes up magnesium, it blocks its calcium uptake. So initially it puts on a lot of green growth, but then it can't sustain that green growth because the calcium is not available in the plant because that magnesium's overdosed it. That's the way you've got to think about it. It's just like overdosed it. So what if you use natural supplements? I mean, if you use natural supplements, then fair enough. But whatever happens, that water in your hydroponic system is always going to be, so toxic with those supplements. It's got to go somewhere. So one of the things that I try and teach on my channel is to garden sustainably, to garden in a way that and to grow in a way that builds the environment and sustains the environment. For me, hydroponics is just not one of those systems. Do you have any information on green bed lands? Depends on what information are you looking for.
Would you believe me if I said we put sugar in the Mexican chili?
Yeah, I would believe you.
Actually did. We put 2 teaspoons in.
I would believe you.
But you can actually taste it.
So
tasted like
Jilly join. So we've got people joining on TikTok and leaving straight away. That's fair enough. But guys, whoever's in there, keep hitting that like for me on TikTok. It really does help attract more viewers, and we're taking a lot of time out to do these, so it does give us a little bit of encouragement to make sure that we've got enough people watching. Raza Yasri, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Do you recommend using PSB on making? What does PSB mean? Yeah, I don't know what PSB means. So Ben, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Is there anyone will do a seed swap at the end of the season? Ben, are you in the Facebook group? Are you in my family garden Facebook group? If you want to organize a seed swap in there, all the way, what I meant to do at the start of this year was I wanted to have one running thread of a constant running seed swap. I just didn't have the time to write the post. If you're in that group and you want to do it, if you want to organize it, by all means, please go ahead and organize it. There's loads of people who will want to get involved. If you just want to take something off my shoulders and go ahead and set it up, I'd appreciate it. It's a great idea. Kulsum Dalal, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hope you're well. I've just joined the chat. Can you explain why cucumbers are a flop this year? I've been growing them in a polytunnel. I can't explain why cucumbers are a flop. I've had a mare with cucumbers this year. I planted out loads before I went to Bangladesh. I came back and they were all dead. I've got my last cucumber plant, so I'm probably not the best one to give you advice right now. But one thing is, cucumbers, if you transplanted them from a pot to your bed, they don't like being disturbed. They are a bit moody, and if the watering's not right, they can sulk. So that's all I'd say about that. So what neck of the woods are you from? I'm in Leeds. Yeah, I'm in Leeds, West Yorkshire. I also started out with cucumber problems in my pods, and I moved them away from drafts, and I picked up. Brian, I've had an absolute mare this year with cucumbers. So, Ben, here's an off-topic question. What does the rahmatullah mean at the end of peace be upon you? So it means assalamu alaikum, so it means peace be upon you, and then wa rahmatullah, and the mercy of God be upon you as well. It's just an addition. Bouncer Slab, now there's a face I haven't seen for a long time. How are you doing, man? Hope you're good. Hope everything's been good with you. Hope life's treating you well. See, this guy, when he goes out foraging, he comes home, he makes me jealous because he comes home with like stashes and stashes of morel mushrooms. I still haven't found a single morel mushroom yet. But this guy is absolutely awesome when it comes to that. Fishing, catching his own food, growing his own food. Absolutely awesome. Thank you for sharing your educational material. I haven't seen you for a while. Yeah. Photosynthesis bacteria. Adding photosynthesis bacteria to a compost pile. I've just never heard of that. But it just wouldn't make any sense to me why you'd add photosynthesis bacteria to a compost pile. I'd have to look at it and have to look at what this trend is, but I can only honestly say I've never heard of it. If you have to buy it, if it's something that you'd have to buy, I'd say don't do it, because you can make a perfectly nutritious, fertile compost without adding anything that you have to buy. Everything that you can put in a compost pile, you can get for free. Now, if it's something that you can get for free, then maybe, but whatever this thing is, I'd have to have a look at a photosynthesis bacteria addition to a compost pile. I've never heard of it. So Angelica, how are you doing? Thank you very much for joining the chat. Hope you're keeping well. So this is our weekly live chat. For those of you who are new to joining us on TikTok, we stream across two formats. We've got the YouTube channel where we've been running lives for the best part of, ever since we started. Love the YouTube videos. Thank you. Do you recommend growing potatoes with straw hay on the ground? There's actually a video I've done, and I'm doing an experiment. There's a video I did a few weeks ago that does a comparison between growing with straw hay on the ground, just like you're saying, sort of the Ruth Stout method, compared to growing the traditional way in the soil, and compared to my way with growing with, that's much better, with growing with wood chips. So go and have a look at that video on YouTube. It's there. So it's got a bit of a comparison, and at the end of the season what I'll do is I'll compare the harvest, and you'll be able to see the harvest that we get and the quality of the potatoes. Any advice on how to keep molds out of your garden bed? I've just created a new bed, and I'm discovered a mole making tunnels and destroying my young plants. Chicken wire under your beds will help, but apart from that, I've never had to deal with it. So what I do is chicken wire or some kind of welded mesh under your beds. That probably would be the best thing to protect them. I've heard some kind of urines, some urines detract from things like that, lion urine or lion poo. These kind of things can detract from that if you stuff them down the molehill. Yeah, that can help. You get to talk to you guys later and need to attend to the kids. Rob, you take care, mate. You give my love to the family. Surely photosynthesis Brian, it's just something I've never heard of. It's just one. I'm gonna have to give it a Google and see what this is, what we're talking about here. So bear with me while I give this a Google. Okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah, it looks like one of these bogus activator things. If it's one of these compost activators, just don't bother with it. There's absolutely no reason to buy it. If you want to activate your compost pile, we on it. Yeah, that's going to be one of the fastest way of activating a compost pile is to we on it, or use my molasses water that I keep talking about. So Maverick sent us some likes. Thank you very much. So if you're on TikTok, please keep hitting that like button. It really will help. I was up to 2,500 likes last week on this. So whoever's watching on TikTok, you're not liking it enough. Yeah, so it looks like one of those bogus sort of those compost activators. I just think they're a money making scam. You know, people who are learning to compost for the first time, they want to get it right. The people who are learning to garden for the first time, they're easily marketable. People want to easily, you know, take money from them, and I don't think people should be doing that. I think it's absolutely unfair to be doing that. Herdy 1984, hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for coming in. Yas Khan, wa alaikum assalam, and thank you very much for hitting those likes. Appreciate that. If you be on a compost, don't let the neighbors see. Ian Matthews, there we go. Another man I haven't seen for a very long time. Yeah, I haven't. How will you keep him, man? Good to see you over this side of the Pennines. Appreciate it. Yeah, and everyone coming in on YouTube, as you're coming in, please hit that like button as well. Just a reminder, this live stream is in support of the victims of the floods in Bangladesh. Here's a link to the Just Giving page on YouTube. So if anyone wants to donate, yeah, please do. All proceeds are going directly to the victims of the floods in Bangladesh. My brother's out there at the moment, so it's not going to go to a charity who's just going to use the money to buy the chief executive in a fat new car. My brother's out there. He'll make sure it goes to those people who really need it. Yeah. Helen, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. My potatoes have taken over the. Oh, something happened on TikTok. I don't know what just happened on TikTok, but it just kicked us out. Now let's resume that. I'm not sure what happened on TikTok. For whatever reason, it just sort of kicked us out. But hopefully, we're back in now, and yeah, we'll keep it going there. But yeah, I don't understand why it kicked us out. Okay, so please keep hitting that like button. Yeah, as you can tell, if you're new to the channel, I'm not some fancy YouTuber, social media guru. I don't have a fancy studio. You're joining me live from my bedroom. There you go. So my potatoes are taking over the space in my raised beds. They are all in. Go now. Can I cut some of the leaves back and stems back? Will it affect the growth of the potatoes? I wouldn't mind giving them a trim. So one of the things that I'd do is if they're sort of flopping over and, you know, your potato plants are flopping over to that side and taking over everything on that side, then what I'd do is, if you can, get a rope, just stake some stakes in the four corners, get a rope and pull the leaves in a little bit. But if you're going to do that, do give them a trim as well. I wouldn't go overboard with the trim, but a little trim will help, you know, allow air to still get in, but a little trim won't harm it either. A really big trim will stop the plants. Remember what the green leaves do is the green leaves take in their sun's energy and they transform that and they help grow those tubers. So don't go overboard with the trim. Give it a little trim, but yeah, I don't think it'll stop. A little trim will be harmful. In a lot of countries, people do eat potato leaves. I've done a video on potato leaves being poisonous, but some people do actually eat potato leaves. I wouldn't advise it because I heard it made decomposing faster. Yeah, Raza, human urine is much better. I'd say use that. I just got a dirty look from my wife recommending people use, pee on the compost piles. Obeyed, I turned a bed upside down and used it as a compost bin. Left it for a year with plastic covering. It's now very good compost because of the amount of weeds that grow in it. Obeyed, see, this is one of the things that I do. We do the no trench composting, so lay out everything on the surface of the soil, all your veg scraps, all your peels, and all that sort of thing, and just cover them with some cardboard, cover them with some wood chips or some kind of organic matter, and let them break down, and that'll give you the best, soil amendment you can get. So let's see who else is coming in. So the compost bacteria is useful if you're in a cold place and time is a concern, but if you mix the fresh stuff in with the old stuff, you're pretty much done the same, not needing our climate. See, Ben, the other thing is, a shovel full of soil will give you all the bacteria you need anyway. Even if it's poor quality soil, you'll still get loads and loads of good bacteria. You live in a dry, hot climate. See, even with that, what I'd be doing is, if you're in a dry, hot climate, I'd be recycling all your water. So all the water left over from after having a shower, all the water that's left over from washing your pots and pans and stuff like that, and all that, I'd be watering my plants. I'd be watering my compost piles with all that sort of thing. So yeah, don't waste your water. So Sheila is coming in. Thank you very much for joining us on TikTok. We've got a fair few people coming in. So Nick, hope you're keeping well. Thanks very much for joining us. I'm going on a bit of an adventure tomorrow as well, so that's going to be fun. Might do a vlog on that, and might do a bit of a different style video on that. So we're off to Mount Snowdon tomorrow. So some of my friends have organised. They're really good, actually, these guys, because they always organise community events. They're always organising some charity events. If you saw the barbecue videos that I did a few months ago, they organised that. But these guys are organising another a charity walk, and to climb Mount Snowdon, and that should be interesting because it's going to be a load of unfit guys trying to head up this mountain. It should be hilarious. Yeah, it should be absolutely hilarious. So, Reza, whereabouts are you from? Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mount Snowdon. It's been on one of the things that I wanted to do, but I was hoping to do it, a lot later on when I'm a little bit fitter. But at the moment, I'm just not fit enough to do it. But here we go. We're going to do it anyway. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be they've hired a whole bus, so they're taking a whole bus load of people down. So that should be fun. David, thank you very much for joining us on the TikTok. I hope you're keeping well. Hope everything's going. Human urine doesn't grow pH soil or make it more acidic. Don't worry about that. Unless you're using loads and loads and loads and loads, it's not going to make a massive difference. as long as you're not on any sort of extreme medications, as long as you're not doing chemo or something like that, or antibiotics, yeah, your urine's going to be fine. A couple of bucket loads isn't going to make a difference. So what else? So Dandy, Harry Bryce John is saying hello on TikTok. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, when words are more, joined together, it's hard for me to read. So if I do mangle stuff up, I do apologize. Share going now and watch your videos on YouTube. Oh, you're very welcome. No problem. See, yeah, enjoy them. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. But the coriander, I think you were asking about the coriander video. Do check that out. That's a really good one for you. Through the winter, I threw all my veg scraps, cardboard and paper into my raised beds and covered them with soil. Then they were ready to plant out the scraps, except I had decomposed. Absolutely. Yeah, Helen, trench composting has been used for centuries. It's a really old way of growing. It's absolutely amazing. Were you in Bangladesh over the week, or was that an old video that just popped up? Hope the weather holds up for you. Ben, I was there. I got back last week. So last Thursday I got back, and then I did the live on Friday. So I've been back just over a week now. Yeah, that sort of time. But I was out there during the start of the floods, and I saw a lot of what was, a lot of the devastation. So the video that I put up, there's going to be some more videos that I put up around my Bangladesh tours and my Bangladesh journey. So yeah, there will be quite a few other things happening. Yeah, there will be quite a few more. One big video that everyone should be looking forward to is going to be a tour of my village. So if you want to look at if you want to see a 150-year-old food forest and where the idea of food forests, how they've been used for centuries and centuries, and they're not just an invention by these permies. Yeah, I'll give you an example of that, and a lot of methods that I use, and you'll see how and where I pick a lot of these things up from. So I'm on extreme medication and my plants have never felt better. How do you turn clay? How do you turn clay into clay soil? Okay, so you want to improve clay soil. One thing that I'd do is I'd find, if I was starting off, then obviously loads and loads of mulch. If you look at my video recently, the recent videos that I've done on mulch, just grass clippings, hedge trimmings, all that sort of stuff, mash it up as small as you can, leave it on the surface of the soil, and that'll just break down. Cover crops with long roots, so radishes, really important, really useful for breaking up clay soil. So long rooted radishes. So if you grow things like the daikon type radishes, and just leave them in the soil at winter time, cut the top off, leave the majority of this radish in the soil, and let it break down in the soil. That'll just put a load of organic matter directly into the soil. So that's a really good way of adding organic matter to your soil. You'll see that it'll break down like that, and it'll take time. I mean, unless you've got loads and loads of compost, improving clay soil can take a couple of years. So these are little tricks that I'd use. My carrots are splitting. Any advice on how to head that off in the future? Not enough water is one of the reasons that, inconsistent water, is one of the reasons that causes carrots to split. Too much nitrogen is another thing that causes them to split and fork. So yeah, if there's too much nitrogen in there, then they can fork and they can split. Likewise with inconsistent watering, if they've either taken on too much water in one go, or they've not taken on enough water, that's another reason they can split. So Reza, you're from Iran, mashallah. soaking wood chips with the urine and letting it to decompose for 8 months is the way I used to make potassium nitrate and sodium nitrate back in the old days. See, this is what I love about these sorts of things, because you pick up some fun facts, and then you know what's going to end up happening now? I'm going to go Google that after this live stream, and I'm going to end up down a rabbit hole and look at all sorts of other old-fashioned techniques. But that's a nice one for that. Planet Zog. Collect wee and pour over the weeds on the driving path. It kills them really well. So optical turnkey. I'm starting my growing journey. Started with lettuce, long radish, and spring onions. My lettuce is struggling in my seedling trays. They're better bunched in tubs rather than seedling. Yeah, once they get past maybe a couple of centimeters, they don't want to be in seedling trays. As long as they've got a root system, get them outside. Get them into as much soil as they want, as much soil as possible. They're not going to go. The roots aren't going to go past sort of 6 inches, so 6-inch deep. I've grown them successfully in big, the large mushroom trays. They're deep enough to grow in. But I like growing lettuces in containers. It's just easier to keep them pest free. Stony Brook, never seen root veg split. It will fork. Sarfraz Dorat, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for joining us. Hope everything is good with you. Blessings to you and your family and friends, especially those in Bangladesh. Helen, thank you very much. People in Bangladesh are really struggling at the minute. Brian, you have a good night. I hope you're good, and hope you're keeping your garden up to speed as well. I use my upside down pop bottle with holes in the cap and bottom cut off to water carrots. Upside down pot. Okay. Yeah. So this area we need to make compost faster. One of my friends recommend black soldier flies. See, black soldier flies and vermicompost. Black soldier flies are good, but I can't disagree with using black soldier flies. Vermicompost is very good as well. Now, Reza, if you're growing on the ground, then what I'd be doing, one of the things that whenever I've spent time in the Middle East, is no one composts waste material. If most places in the Middle East are making, sugarcane drinks, so there's loads and loads of waste from these sugarcane drink factory little these little stores that make sugarcane juice, or the little cafes that have sugarcane juice. They're literally throwing out buckets and bags and bags full of perfectly good compost material. People aren't collecting that. If people collected that, then you'd have amazing compost. You'd have amazing soil. And there's loads of juice bars that are making orange juice, and loads of orange skins. Get that collected. Use that. If you're in Iran, obviously coffee grounds are going to be everywhere. Get hold of that. Don't bother composting it. A lot of the time you don't need to compost it. Just get it straight onto the ground. Let's see. Soldier flies are sold as calci worms in England. Very nutritious for pets. See, I've never grown them for pets, but they're really easy to grow your own soldier fly as well. Let's see who's coming in on TikTok. John Kennedy, how are you doing? Thank you very much for joining us. Say hello. Very welcome. There's ways apparently of bringing. Okay. Let's see who else is coming in. So yeah, soldier flies they tend to compost a lot faster than red wrigglers as well. one of the good things about worms is, I'd say the advantage of worms is the amount of bacteria that they put back into the composted material, and that can just then be, that's just supercharged. And if you're going to make things like compost teas and stuff like that, yeah, you got something really good to use. Yeah, I watch Black Soldier Fly eat everything. Yeah, they are brilliant. They're really quick at composting as well. They really break down things really fast. Nala 2028 on TikTok. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Right, guys, we've passed the 9 o'clock mark, and on that note, I'm gonna call it a night for the evening. So this is our new night. Friday nights is gonna be the night we do a live stream. It's not Saturdays anymore. Hopefully, I'll have a video out for you again on Sunday. I had another awesome garlic harvest, so you can watch that when it comes out. So I'll leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yeah, let's end this and